Gosh, you're back again. Let's do this quick because I'm feeling a little sick again, but not that bad. Like, it's just one of these tummy bug things that I've been having for a few days. It happens. So that light's still there. Yes, this is getting a little bit tiring to do this every day. That's not tiring, it's just like, what am I going to say this time? How's it going to be interesting? I sound so loud when I play it back, and I think it's because the microphone is really right in front of me. Every time I look at the camera, I think I make it worse. But anyway, today is December the 19th. So December the 19th should be exciting. Now I noticed something. Today's not December the 19th. It's December the 18th. Seriously. I just like the number 19. 19 is a good number. I feel like I have a cold. Anyway, I don't. I just feel like my nose is blocked. Today is December the 18th. I've just realized that pretty much everything on this, is my hand visible? Everything on here is, in fact, probably from The Force Awakens, and I had thought about re-watching a good part of it this evening so that I could make more insightful comments about everything that has been popping up in this box of bits and pieces. But I didn't. I didn't even watch the trailer. I thought about watching the trailer again, but I didn't. But the one thing I did notice is that once we get to 19, all the last days are on this side of the box, and we've got through everything. Well, not everything that's the later days are on this side of the box. We've got 3 over here, and we've got 8 over there. So that's kind of interesting, and 5 there. So most of the later days are here, but not all of the later days are here. Some of them are we've got 19 and 18 over here. So 18 is a night sky day. I'm a bit worried. I've just moved the camera. I've just realized why I can't see the camera. I took the camera off today and used it for a very silly purpose, which I will make a very silly, very short video out of. But I've moved it slightly, and I don't want to touch it, because when I watched the video before, there was like me shaking the camera, and I think every time I bump the disc, it might shift it, and I don't like it when it shifts around. But anyway, we are digressing. What wacky little thing can we use that's on my desk can we use to open up the thing today? I've run out of things. We'll just have to use Christmas Cat. Okay, Christmas Cat. Christmas Cat is back, and Christmas Cat is going to open up box number 18. I should take the price tag off. It just doesn't seem right to do that to poor Christmas Cat. I almost called Christmas Cat's Christmas tag. So let's go. I've got to stop. Somebody said to me today, they said, "Do I ever stop talking?" I thought that was funny. Quite often I do. So let's push this open with the paws on the front. Okay, I think we've all discovered that today's implement for opening the box is the single worst one ever. It's fine, cat, it's fine. My cat actually meowed at me today, which is weird. I don't know what she means when she meows at me. We don't have a very close relationship. Okay, that's good enough. Christmas Cat. I'm talking about not Christmas Cat, I'm talking about an actual real life cat that lives in my lounge. Okay, let's open this box today, and we're going to predict that there's nothing that's on the box. This is going to be a complete surprise. I just know that it's not a minifigure because I saw that. So what could it be? Christmassy related? We've only had the snowblower so far, so let's have a look. And it's not Christmassy related. It's still, I guess that's the whole nature of the Star Wars set. So the City Advent that I'm getting is all about like a snow thing, and it has like lots of little people playing in the snow. So it's very Christmassy, and so I guess you can't. This is like it's not like a Y-wing bomber thing, is it? All right. This is probably straight out of The Force Awakens, and if I just watched it again, this would all make perfect sense. what thing can we use today? I had this idea to get one game. All right, we will just pick the random cassette tape. So this is a cassette tape for a computer. This is for the ZX81, which it was an impressive piece of computing technology, and that it was incredibly cheap at a time when computers were not incredibly cheap. And by incredibly cheap, I don't just mean it didn't cost much. I meant that it was all like very much everything. All the corners were cut. There was no corners. It was a complete smooth circle. And things. Look at this. It's all like stripes. How do cameras cope with stripes? Does that make the autofocus difficult? Look, it's just moving along. Anyway, back here. We're going to use this today. So this is actually the 16K, and this is the Fun to Learn series, and this is mathematics. So some kids that I know, they play lots of maths games these days. They would not play this game, whatever this is. There's no battling strange Pokemon-like monsters as in that Prodigy game that you would get in this thing. In fact, I think it's just going, what is 5 plus 3? And you may notice it uses 16K of RAM, which is not a lot of RAM. The standard ZX81 came with 1K of RAM, which is a very, very, very little amount of RAM. So let's do this and stop talking about memory. RAM means memory, if you don't know, in a computer, a type of memory. This is not the channel for talking about retro computers, so let's just get off that little bit there and talk about what's happening here. So this is an interesting build, I have to say. Should we zoom in? Should we zoom in? Does anyone? I can't. No one can answer me, so I'm not going to, because you didn't say anything. We've got this. That obviously goes at the front, and a little see-through cheese cube goes on the top, and then obviously these bits here go on the side. So we will zoom in because every time I zoom in, there's the picture and there's the thing. So this is what I've got so far. When I watch the videos that I'm making, so I'm really kind of just playing around when I'm doing these things. It doesn't ever look as good as when I filmed it. When I've uploaded it, that is, and then I realize it's because I'm watching it at the really low resolution, and I'm like, well, I watch everything else at the very low resolution and they all look fine. What's their trick? But when I look at it at the higher resolution, it looks the same as it does for me. So that's something to think about. So I may have to invest in a nicer camera. One day I'm going to invest in a nicer camera. So what have we got here? So I am confused. So this bit here, I assume, goes on the bottom, and this is what's going to link it with. So there's going to be some definite articulation here. So every time I stand up to look at the camera, and the viewfinder's in the wrong position tonight, and I don't want to touch it because I don't want to bump the camera, even though I've already bumped the camera to change the focus. Where we go. Okay. As you may notice, as we get further and further down the line on these videos, I'm making less funny jokes because there's only so many funny jokes you can make. Maybe they weren't funny at all, they've never been funny. This is the same kind of usual malarkey that you're used to, so don't worry. Let's go. So that's looking good. Yeah, it's not looking good. There's a little white brick here that goes there. So there's a white brick. Don't ask me where that pencil is, but we can do the infamous Moomin pens, so we can point. So there's a little white bit there I was a little bit confused about, but we're back on track. I'm going to put that there for a second, and now we can put the Dalek head back on, because that's what we had to do when we were kids to make Daleks. We had to use those things, which never looks right because they're way too long. In fact, these are one of the strangest pieces that I think, because these are very old, this kind of piece. Like, they had these when I was a kid. and they've always had the long lever, and it's always seemed like the lever is just a bit too long to be useful, and they don't really grip in the hands. It just seems like there's a really odd design of a piece that whoever made it, it didn't really work as well as they were hoping, but we've been stuck with it ever since. That's what I feel like. Maybe they're just a better, it's kind of like the legs on minifigures. I think it's the legs. They don't quite always fit in. Like, I think they're just a strange thing. They just make it awkward when you want to make and slot other bits and pieces onto the bottom. You know how they make dresses or for minifigures, and they don't always work. But of course nowadays they have better pieces. Oh, I dropped this bit. Oh no. Oh, this is an awkward moment in the video. People are saying, just edit this out. Okay, we're not going to edit this out. We're going to move this here. So back to where we were. I've still got all these pieces here that I'm missing. So I'm just going to jump ahead, and I can see that these bits, so the antennas get the little nuts. I always call these nuts. Like that, and they go in there. And they're going to slot onto the side. And because a lot of Technic bits today, isn't it? It's very Technic. If you're into collecting Technic bits, this is the kit that you want. Just think what fun you will have with these bits you obviously would never have had before in your Technic collecting, which is silly, of course. You have tons, you have literally thousands of those pieces if you do anything with Technic. Alright. So there's probably a better way. A better way would be to make most of this before you stick it on, maybe. Oh, it's too high up. Oh, and that makes a highly effective gun. And this is the minute when we go, I'm glad we've got a spare and we don't have to hunt around for that other little white one we just lost. The little white, a little white stud. I was playing for the very first time the PlayStation 2 version of the Lego Indiana Jones game. Okay, that's close enough. I don't care. I really don't care. Alright, sorry. Off camera fun. Where we're going to push it in. There we go. It needs a hard surface, and so now it fits right. So let's see if... Oh, not again! I think they should have planned this ahead. And if someone from Lego ever watches this and they're like, we don't have to plan for that. It's ridiculous. It's not a scenario that would ever normally come up. This is not how you use advent calendars. You're not supposed to do it with it lying down. Okay, right. Yes, whatever Lego employee. So if I put that there, and then I put the white one on the top off camera, oh, look at that, I didn't even have to push it on the table and it fitted, it went. So this is obviously the better way of doing it. So if you're going to make this yourself, it's probably better to make this up before you stick it. Oh, it's way better that way, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Okay, and have we actually finished it? I think we've actually finished it. It doesn't really look like a Y. Oh, I guess it is. Are they called Y bombers or the things with the Ys? Y wings. That's kind of it. Does that look like a Y wing to you? That doesn't seem very Force Awakens. Maybe it was. So that doesn't all have to be Force Awakens, does it? They can add and they can spice it up with some references to the original series. I always think every time I see something yellow, I'm like, oh, it's something from Naboo, but it's not something from Naboo. I do remember wanting to get one of those Naboo fighter things in the really old school Lego Star Wars series when it first came out, and I don't think I ever did. Which is, you know, fine, but they're always shiny. There's a shiny version of that, but then you get a little tiny Anakin. I think you get a tiny Anakin in that. Why do I think that? I can't remember. Oh, he does fly one at some point, doesn't he? He steals one and flies it around. So yes, there we go. That's the whole model, and there were some few pieces that I just threw away, and it's going to learn some mathematics. So you can calculate that. What number is that? That's right, that's I don't know, that's not a number. But anyway, back before just to finish off, so they have upgraded the silly, I'm not wearing trousers legs, and so these fit better, but I just feel somehow these things always feel like they're not really, there's something about these things that I don't know. I mean, right now they obviously fit. Right, there's some good clutch power in there. But I do find that when you get the fake Lego, the one place where they don't work is they don't really work like this. See Morty. I keep calling Morty Rick in previous videos. I know he's Morty. I do watch the show. I do, I do know these things. That this is very easy to take out, and in most other respects, you find that the imitation Lego has got a lot better. This is not perfect, but there are some really good ones. That most of the time that they're pretty good, except that the legs just don't fit in. So maybe the whole reason that this thing exists is just to say, look, ha 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 ha, look how clever we are. Like, to get this thing to work, you've got to be real smart with your manufacturing. I guess because everything else fits. Like, I'm not going to get Morty's hair off. Okay, it fell off pretty easy. Well, look, okay, I like Morty. Stop criticizing the fake Lego. There's some really bad fake Lego, so that's not too bad. So that was pretty good. Dumbledore can sit there and say, I'd never fly in a Y-wing. It's just not my thing. Well, that's fair enough, Dumbledore. You don't have to. No one's forcing you. So yeah, that's it. So let's just finish it there and not have an exciting, riveting thing. I don't know. Is it going to get any? Is it just going to keep going downhill, or are we going to be plotting the graph like this? This is my pen. And just have to imagine that it's going, you're reading it that way. I mean, you're reading it that way? I don't know which way you're reading it. So the graph is going down, and the quality is getting worse. It's just more rambly, it's more rubbish, it's just not funny, there's no quirky jokes, it's just all this, it's just like watching a documentary presented by somebody who's very, very boring. But that's okay, because no one's actually watching these videos. So we'll finish it there. And I think I finished that there many times. Tomorrow's challenge is not to say we'll finish it there. And so it stops now.